Hey, my name is Evan Cater, and I'm from Arlington, Virginia. I'm taking a Coursera course called Introduction to Public Speaking, and our assignment was to create an informative speech about something we're passionate about. So today I'd like to talk to you guys about GMOs. You may ask, why is a 15-year-old passionate about GMOs? That's kind of weird, but it stems from a personal anecdote I want to share. My mother's friend, at dinner one time, my mother's friend Kathy was talking about how bad GMOs were and how Monsanto was the worst corporation in history and all these things, horrible things I don't want to repeat about GMOs. As a skeptic, I wanted to do my own research and figure out my opinion on the issue of GMOs, and I found some interesting results. Sorry about the dog; it's kind of distracting, Chester. So there are common misconceptions about GMOs, but the current implementation of GMOs are positive, is what I figured out. Let me walk you through my main points. That I want to talk about how there's a misunderstanding about Monsanto. There's a lack of understanding of what a GMO is and the science behind GMOs, and there's misinformation about the dangers of GMOs. After that, I also want to talk about the positive uses of GMOs in this world. So, Monsanto is evil. I heard that from Kathy that one day. I was like, who was Monsanto? Well, Monsanto is a biotechnology corporation that sells GMO seeds to farmers from around the world. And there's this notion that's come about that they sue farmers whose crop is accidentally contaminated by GMO seeds. But this is not true. This belief stemmed from a lawsuit called Monsanto Canada Incorporated versus Schmeiser, where the Monsanto sued an organic farmer because he had GMO seeds within his crop, and he was not paying any money to Monsanto for the copyright of the seed. And in the end, it caused many propaganda films such as Food Incorporated and The Matrix or something like that, showing how Monsanto is evil and sued a small farmer. But in the end, he never provided any evidence, and it was proven that he was the one that planted GMO seeds in his own crop, because 98% of his crop was GMO seed. That doesn't happen. That's not possible in 1 year of growing. There's also this notion that the chemicals they use are dangerous. The Roundup Ready crops, which are the crops that Monsanto produce, are resistant to a herbicide called glyphosate or Roundup, and it is used in all farming things, from your small garden to your huge fields of corn. There's been extensive testing done on it, and it's one of the safest chemicals in use currently today. I'll link an EPA article about the non-dangers of glyphosate. So now that I've talked about Monsanto, I want to talk about the definition of a GMO and the science behind GMOs. A GMO, to put it simply, a GMO is simply I said simply twice, sorry about that. A GMO is simply a genetically modified organism. Now, what does that mean? It means that some of the DNA has been changed from its original form. For example, I could genetically engineer Evan using base pairs into my DNA, and I would be a genetically modified organism. But that would really do nothing to my phenotype. I wouldn't express any traits of that slight changing. So this ties into my next point, that the notion that GMOs are unnatural is false. The genes that are put into the organisms that are genetically modified already exist in nature. Monsanto made Roundup Ready produce by finding a plant that expressed Roundup resistant traits, and then they studied that plant extensively and figured out what specific codons expressed those traits, and then put them into and modified things like corn and canola to make them resistant, so that they are not unnatural because those genes they use already exist in nature. And so now I want to talk about the dangers around, the misconception of the dangers around GMOs. Well, there's been a study that's been posted around that's been used often in the anti-GMO groups that showed how rats, when fed GMO wheat, it caused cancer, and they were more likely to have cancer if they were fed GMO wheat. But this scientist was discredited. But this was a French scientist by the name of Seralini. I'll link all the articles below. But it was bad science. He cherry-picked data, and he used rats that were likely to form tumors even eating regular food if they were overfed. If they were overfed, they were likely to get tumors anyways. And the number of rats he used were 20 per testing group, which was statistically insignificant. You need more testing to show proof of significance. Plus, he did not have a control group, which is not good. It was a very biased study, and he was discredited. And there's also this notion that GMOs are bad when they are digested in your stomach. Typically, GMOs mess with 3 to 5 proteins in the coding region. It takes thousands and thousands of proteins and enzymes to change the physiology of a plant. Besides, when ingested by humans, a single protein will go under proteolysis, which are shredded to pieces, and then they're digested by acids and enzymes within the stomach. So there's no difference with physically eating organic corn against GMO corn. And just to prove my point one more time that they're not dangerous, science organizations from around the world have shown and posted statements that there's no danger corresponding with them. For example, the Royal Science Academy, the European Commission, and the EPA have all made statements about GMOs and how they're not dangerous. I'll link them below. And so now I want to talk about the positive of GMOs. What can they do for you? Well, 675,000 kids under 5 die of vitamin A deficiency every year. This may change in 2015 because scientists have been formulating rice called golden rice, which is essentially white rice with, I guess it's yellow rice, with vitamin A spliced into it, or not spliced, but it told the rice to produce vitamin A, which is very good because it's been proven that if a person eats 75 grams of that golden rice a day, they will get their daily dose of vitamin A, which is good because those people cannot afford things like spinach and other sources of vitamin A naturally. So in conclusion, there's misinformation about Monsanto, misinformation about what the definition of GMOs are and the science behind them, and the dangers around GMOs. In the end, the applications of GMOs can be good and life-saving, as shown in golden rice, which can have the potential to save 675,000 children under 5 a year. Thank you. And if you're a grader, please, if you don't agree with my statements, do your own research and don't grade me on my opinion. Just grade me on the way I formulated my speech. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. And post your opinions below if you think this is an interesting issue. Have a good day.